The Wednesday Week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. My name's Dan Fudge, and tonight I've got Simon, Stevie, Ben, and John, and we're going to be talking. Well, we've had 2 weeks off, haven't we, lads? I've spent the last week hungover to sin, and I am absolutely still sweating out pure beer. So that's my fault. My apologies about that. And we've got a fair bit to talk about. So I tell you what, Simon, let's get straight into it. Let's just touch upon Morecambe and Saints and the rest of it. I mean, Morecambe, decent goal by Windass. Keeper should have done better though, shouldn't he?
Yeah, to say that was the same keeper who played like Buffon in the league game, it was pretty poor, really. But I don't care. It was a well taken goal. They turned up. Morecambe sat 11 behind the ball. I don't know why they did that. It didn't come to us at all, even when they won 1-0 down. God, it was a long time ago. Was it Mighton who got the second?
Mighton did get the second one.
Yeah,
yes.
Mighton got the second. Yeah, all right. Next round, Mansfield at home, banging.
Bit of a ropey fixture, Ben, isn't it? The Mansfield game. They've got a few scores to settle with us, haven't they?
There's previous. I don't think there's two. It was more between players, wasn't it? And I don't think either have got them players anymore. Any of them, probably. We got one, maybe. But yeah, I don't think there's too much in it anymore. Yeah, it's another boring one, isn't it? Really. It's a chance to get. You obviously expect to get through, but we see them against some drab draws at the moment. There's nothing exciting. At least who were it that were left in late on as well? I can't remember who it were. It like a tiny non-league. It had been a change, wouldn't it? Even to get them, but another. We've played Mansfield so many times in the last few years. It's Mansfield, Morecambe.
Yeah, it's like England when they're trying to qualify for a big tournament, isn't it? And there's always Hungary and San Marino.
Yeah,
it's always the same bloody teams, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, so Steve, look, we went to Southampton down on the south coast. I mean, like I say, I'm still hanging. I need to apologise for the season ticket owner of seat number 1169 because it's not there anymore.
Someone's that story, Dan.
Well, so
Dan's campaign for safe standing.
Yeah. Right, so God Almighty, bear in mind, I need to remember through this whole story that I am a grown-ass man in my early 40s. You know what I mean? And
you did have a grown-ass man and his 52-year-old stood at the side of you going, crack on, pal.
Get it. So I lived in Southampton on and off for 17 years. I moved down there it was 2005. And so I've moved away and moved back and moved away. And 2 years ago, I left Southampton. And so that game I used to go to all the time. That was the fixture I look forward to. And we haven't played them in 10 years. We haven't played them at that ground in 10 years. And so I was giddy. I think
the last time we did play there, Fudge, were Oxlade-Chamberlain playing for him? Wasn't that like a league?
Yeah. It was a cup game, and it was the same round. It was literally the same week as well. So it was nearly 10 years to the week, and we lost 2-0. I remember it. I remember it really vividly. And so I was like, I got straight in the car, went tearing over to Southampton. Say, where's the lads here? I'm here. Come on, where's all my mates? I'll meet you after the game. Simon met Trampo, which is an enigma in itself. If you ever met my mate Trampo, I say my mate Trampo. It's Trampo, and we call him Trampo. That's not a clever name. He looks like a tramp, so we call him Trampo. It's not like there's some weird meaning behind it. So anyway, we've gone to the game, and I thought, right, what I'm going to do is get absolutely shit-faced. That's my plan. So I did really well. I had a good 6 or 7 pints before we went in. And then, you're sculling one before you get to the seat. I was just chinning them back. Like, I'm in Southampton. I've been waiting 10 years for this. To the point where halfway through the second half, I decided I was going to kick the back off that seat in front of me, and I'm taking it home with me. I've earned this bloody seat. This is my seat. And then, you do something, and you go, what have I done that for? What have I done that? So I give it Simon's kid. I went, here, pal. And then Simon's missus rang up the day after and went, why is the back of a chair in my house? Like, what's that? So
yeah, cheers for that.
And the reason we didn't record a podcast last week, I was stinking hungover. Like, I couldn't breathe. Couldn't breathe. But John, look, we had a decent game against Southampton. I thought we gave a good account of ourselves, right, from memory.
I thought we did really well. I thought we gave them a really good game. Went toe to toe, particularly in that first half. I thought Wednesday played some great stuff. Doing well in midfield. Delabshire was putting himself about a bit, and Windass was threatening. I thought we did give a really good account of ourselves in that game, particularly first half. Like I say, second half it was a bit backs against the wall, but again we stood tall and dug in, and thankfully they've done away with extra time, which I think is the right thing to do in these cup games.
I couldn't have made extra time.
Yeah, you'd have been carried out, mate.
That'd have been done.
Yeah. But taking them all the way to penalties, and then it gets to penalties and gets to sudden death, and you just never know, do you? And Iofa wasn't able to take his spot kit, but I thought we did really well in that game. Better than actually what we played against Accrington the following game, to be fair.
Absolutely.
That's just Wednesday being inconsistent, isn't it?
That's just Wednesday being Wednesday. I mean, Simon, that ball through from FDB to Windass for that goal, we got a great view of that, didn't we?
Oh,
it was
a great
absolutely
goal.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they couldn't touch him in the first half. And I don't know whether it was because obviously they lost the manager the week before or a few days before. Don't know whether they'd done much research on Wednesday. And Fizz ran that midfield. He was superb in first half. And what we noticed in second half is they put two players on him, marked him out of the game, which then brought them more into it. But
freed up Ward Prowse as well.
Yeah. It was. I mean, we missed the penalty because we come down to meet you when you'd bought two of us 6 beers, one of the two of us being a 14-year-old, and then going, shit, I bought you 2 beers and you're 14. I was going to get you Coke. And then promptly drank the 6 beers that were there.
Yeah, I did. I forgot we had a child with us.
So we missed the penalty. So I've watched it again. It were a pen, but a bit of a soft pen. I walked out of that game, and to be honest, the 3.5 hour drive home, could hold our heads high after that, because despite not putting that penalty away, if it wasn't going to be Iofa, it was going to be somebody else for either us or them. That's all about penalties, isn't it? At the end of the day, there's always heroes and villains. Christ, Chris Waddle missed a few of them in his time, didn't he? So, heads held. We were proud to walk out of there. The Southampton's done. Southampton now not bothered about going again. Fans were very quiet. Got home at 2:00 in the morning and got up at 5:30 for work. Smashing.
Sounds great. Now, Stevie, nobody's blaming Iofa for missing a penalty, or nobody really gives a shit, do they? I mean, I must admit though, when he walked up, his body language was very much, "I'm missing this." Like, you could tell he'd not volunteered for first 5 penalties for a reason.
Yeah. It was funny, actually. I've watched them back. Stockdale don't get anywhere near any of them, does he?
No, he don't.
He doesn't get near a single one. So the first one was Smith, wasn't it? And their keeper got a hand to it. And it was obviously a little bit hairy. But other than that, they just absolutely schooled us on those pens. Fair play to our lads for the first 5 getting them in. But, the moment you can tell, can't you, when a player's got confidence, whether they score or not, the way that they walk up to the ball, that, he fancies it or he don't. I don't actually think it was that bad a penalty, to be fair. He's hit it straight down the middle. Goalkeeper moves. If the goalkeeper moves enough, it goes in. It just so happens that he didn't. I've got no qualms with.
It was a proper centre-back penalty.
It was. It was. But at that point, who else was still on the pitch to take one? I don't know.
No idea.
It'd have been another centre half. It might have been Stockdale. Was Pato still on?
Yeah, Pato's still on.
Deep. I was 7 pints deep then, mate. I've no bloody idea.
But this is. But if it gets to sudden death at that point, if you're a manager or you're the players, you're looking at people who are going to volunteer. You're looking around. and it's almost one of those things like who fancies it, and clearly Iorfa fancied it more than certain other players that were there, because you're not, to my knowledge, you don't line up and say this is number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once it gets to sudden death, they just pop up. So they'd have been looking down the line going, right, who's next? And Iorfa's put his hand up. And to be fair, for the shit that he's had this season from, all corners, fair play to the bloke, because, he's got to have some absolutely massive stones to be able to stand up and say, I'm going to take the first sudden death penalty. I've got to score it otherwise. And I've been absolutely dogger for the last 6 months. So I've got no problem.
He had a good game, though, Steve.
I was going to say,
a great game. He had a really good game.
I think Iorfa was one of the better players that day.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But I'm talking about the
prior.
Previous,
prior.
Yeah.
I think
looking.
I think take that performance into from last Wednesday. You take that performance into Saturday. I know we're jumping on, but I thought Iorfa was good again. And he's starting to look a little bit more confident. A couple of shaky moments. There was one where his first touches trampolined out to one of their players, and they've gone through and had a shot on goal. But it looks like he's starting to find something like the form that we're familiar with. And I don't know if he's had a couple of decent games, had a decent run out. He looked confident against Southampton. He looked like he was comfortable. And he's took that into the game on Saturday. And, fair play. Let's hope he kicks on from here.
Absolutely. I mean, let's get on to the next game. Who was it? It was Accrington, wasn't it? Like you said, John, I offered a decent game. Ben, I'll come to you actually, because I've not heard you speak in about 10 minutes. I wanted to know how you're feeling. How are you doing? You all right? What I mean? Accrington. What do you know? What did you see? What did you notice?
Didn't see much as I wasn't there. However, it's games that we away from home last season, albeit we did beat Accrington away last season. It's games last season like this that we tended to stumble on. Mm-hmm. Albeit that cost us in the long run. Try to get automatic. So at the end of the day, a win's a win. Now, no matter how scrappy, it's the goal itself is a great goal all round. Bannon's delivery in, however much it means, I'm not sure, because he's fizzed it in the half. But it's a great knockdown. I think Smith great knockdown.
Yeah. And
then obviously it's a good finish from Mighton. Is he coming good? Because we've slated him for, as we have done with Iorfa for the last few weeks, because he hasn't been good enough, to be honest.
You reckon something's landed?
Potentially.
Might be the key.
I don't know how he played other than that. I don't know how he played other than that, so I'm not going to say everything's changed, but maybe he is hitting a little bit of form.
Well, I tell you what, John. Actually, cheers, man. I think that there's a. I'm obviously we'll talk about Dele Bashiru as well, but there's a shout here for Dele Bashiru not really carrying on the form that the performance he showed at Southampton up at Accrington. But in that again, it's that 4-2-2-2 that we've been playing that seems to be coming out. I can't work out what bloody formation we're playing when the squad gets announced now. But I also need to bring up Reece James as well, because I think he's a bit of an unsung hero at the minute for me.
Yeah, he come back, didn't he, after having some injury problems, and he looks he's more of a natural left wing back than Marvin Johnson. Let's be honest, he is. He's more accustomed to that. Mm-hmm. And again, he's come in and he's slotted in well. I think he's also. He does get forward as well. He does support the attack at times as well. But he just looks a more natural fit than Marvin Johnson. Well, I still like, and it's not, I wouldn't cast him aside or anything, but I've never been fully comfortable, certainly this second season, having Marvin Johnson continuing that role as left wing back, because at times I find that, I don't know if it's his own judgment or if it's being coached into him, but there's times when he won't even cross bloody halfway line and you're thinking, come on, Marv. Where's these marauding runs that you've been doing? And
James was doing that, wasn't he, on Saturday? James was doing just that. And
James definitely played under Moore as well at Doncaster, so he knows what's expected. James has supported the attacks, but Marvin's not seemed to have done it as much, so I don't know what's going on there. But Reece James, I think definitely has come in and contributed since returning from injury.
Absolutely. Now, Simon, you went up there with your young fella. You went up there to the the beautiful backdrop that is Accrington. Well, and I tell you what, when I saw that you were up there on the socials, I was like, oh, God, good luck to him, because I would be already arsehole by now, and the thought of drinking any more just played through me. So tell me what you noticed. You had Volks in the middle of the park. McGuinness had a good game at the back, didn't he? Do you play right back?
He played right wing back, which pace-wise superb, but he hasn't got his final ball in was lacking, but never been known for his crossing or passing ability. He's a centre back at the end of the day. Reece James, I thought, was superb. I think I agree with what John was saying about Marv, that he does seem to almost like he's got an elastic band on him, and he gets taught by the time he gets to the halfway line, and it pulls him back, and he's not. What we saw on Saturday was Reece James getting further forward and overlapping with Mighton, and there was a lot of play between those two, and Bannon coming across, which was really quite changed to what we'd seen since the start of the season. I thought Accrington were a better side than they were last season. They battled more than they did last season. I mean, bear in mind, we were 3-0 up at half-time last season. We did go on to have a slightly squeaky bum moment and still won 3-2, but second half was a bit squeaky bum. I don't really remember Accrington have a lot of chances on Saturday. There was one where the keeper was through. Sorry, the striker was through on our keeper, and we had a decent save from that. I wouldn't have changed. I wouldn't have taken Windass off personally, but I see what he's doing. He's keeping everybody fresh, and we've spoken about this several times, haven't we already, about the size of our squad and the depth of our squad, and I think that's already starting to show with the fact that Ipswich and Plymouth are starting to get injuries, and they drew their 2 games. And looking on Twitter, a lot of the Plymouth fans were actually quite happy with the draw at Lincoln because of the number of injuries they've got. So we know quite well that there's a banana skin at Lincoln because we've had it, haven't we, last season and this season, with losing last season and drawing. So they were quite hot on that. So maybe the rotation he's doing, taking players off. I know Windass wasn't happy about coming off, but it means he's fit for Saturday, doesn't it?
Well, Windass is a winner and he wants to come off. And I thought Darren Moore's response to it was very good. Like, you know what I mean? He just kind of went, well, he wants to be on the pitch. He wants to score all the time. Absolutely. He wants to do it. And, sometimes sensible subs don't really land. Now, ladies and gents, I'm going to take a brief break here because the sound on this sounds absolutely bloody dreadful. So just bear with us. Hold the line, caller.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.
So, welcome back. We've got our audio issues sorted out. We've managed to shoot the pigeon that was in our bank account. So, as we move on, that was a penalty loss against Southampton, a 2-0 win against Morecambe in the Cup, and a 1-0 win against Accrington. These are games we should be winning. Same with Shrewsbury coming up. Now, in the meantime, there is this hot topic that is surrounding the Sheffield Wednesday socials right now, and it's Fazeo Delibishiru. Now, he's managed to break his way into the team a lot more of late as it goes. I think he signed for us. How long ago did he sign for us? Now, it was a 3-year contract, wasn't it?
It was Gary Moore.
Yeah, we came down, weren't it?
Was it?
No,
yeah.
Year before.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. It was the season before we were in the Championship, and he came in from Manchester City, and we knew he was going to be one for the future. Now, as his contract is about to expire at the end of the season, there's a lot of chat about, you've got on one side, you're like, what difference does it make? And on the other side, you've got people going, well, this is going to be one of the worst things we let go since letting the youth team go. And I wanted to get your chaps' view on it. So, Simon, what do you reckon?
Okay, so I was a bit indifferent at the start of the season. From what I'd seen so far from him, he's had spells of where he's come into the side and couple of games where he's impressed, and then he'll be picked for the next game, and he's just been subbed at half time. He's not made his stamp on the game. Now, call me cynical, maybe. His performances this season have really picked up, and like I said, Southampton game, thought it was superb.
Yep.
Saturday, not so much. Now, are these ups in performances down to contract negotiations and putting himself in the marketplace because there's been a few people, names battered around, PSV being one of them today, or is it the fact he's getting a run in the side? Now, I want to go down the fact that he's getting a run in the side, and I want to go down the fact that maybe we're playing to his strengths as well, because he's a physical lad. And when he gets that ball and runs at players, there's not many who can take the ball off him. And what he's shown this season as well, he's got one hell of a shot on him as well. Me personally, I would be looking at, you've got to tie him down. But you've also got to look to the point of what is he asking for? What is the hold-up? What is stopping him from signing? Every player has a price. And at the end of the day, we can all go on about other players that have got away, that they've done really well since they've left Wednesday, and so on and so forth. Probably not so often recently as what we have done in the past. And we could always say that, especially about a young lad. What deal has got to be done for him has also got to be done for the best of Sheffield Wednesday, because we're not Mr. Moneybags anymore, and we're not throwing contracts around, daft contracts around. But if we can sign him, then let's get him signed. But don't go over the top.
Fucking hell, Si. So you do. But I tell you what, though. But you were going, yeah, but this, but and then there's this, and then there's this and that.
There is, but
fucking hell. How do you feel about it, Diamond?
God, sign him, but don't give him a stupid daft contract. And if he wants more money and we can't afford to it, then we don't sign him.
But and I feel like that's the way the argument's going. I mean, how do you feel about it, Ben?
You've got to try your utmost to tie him down. I agree with Simon that he can't be handing daft contracts out. However, I feel that we're tying him down to a contract to be able to sell him for 3 or 4 million in 6 months, a year, 18 months. That said, you've got a bit more leeway in terms of what you can offer.
That said was just a posh butt there, Ben.
It wasn't butt though. It wasn't, but that's
all right. That said, and then
right,
John's going to plump for however, and then Simon's going to, Stevie's going to plump for.
I think he's got a lot of potential, and I don't think it's the case of trying to put himself in shop window or whatever. I don't think he's good enough to flick a switch and turn it off and on like that. I don't think many players at this level are. But as I say, he's got a lot of potential that I feel if he goes to I think PSV is too big a move. I think he's got to be somewhere in between there if he wants to actually progress his career. I think he's good enough. I think he could be a top end Premier League player. He's got it. You get, like Simon said, if you get him on the half term and he's carrying the ball forwards, he can carry it 60, 70 yards. And we were screaming out for that midfielder in 2015 and 2016, and we didn't have it. A prime Delibashiru in that side would have been perfect, but that's ifs and buts, and we've had plenty of them.
Right, John, this lot
down.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, and in case that the third moon's arisen over the third Sunday after Pentecost, and you know what I mean, and it's St. Swithin's Day on a Tuesday, then all of a sudden we should tie him down. What do you reckon?
Sign him, absolutely.
Sign him.
Protect your investment. Sign him, and then if you have to sell him, you're getting a fee. You're not letting talent walk out the door.
All right. Don't get me wrong. I agree with what you two guys are saying in terms of we've got to make sure the contract's right for both parties, because I believe that the sticking point would be, and I believe Joe Cran and Alex are saying the same about how much game time is he likely to get. Now, it would be a really odd contract to write in there. You are going to play X amount of games, but he's probably looking around going, well, I need to get out of here. I mean, League One. And I'm only a bit part player. He's only had 13 appearances this season in the league. So, like,
I think you've got to look at it this way as well. We all marvel at the Brentford model, don't we? Signing young players really cheap and then selling them on. So why don't we start doing a bit of that? Why don't we sign Dele Bashiru, see how he pans out, and if he goes in next window, not the January one obviously, but if he goes in the summer or whatever, or partway through next season, and we get 4, maybe 5 million if we've got promoted to Championship, just keep recycling the format and let's start doing it, because you're always hampered with these profit and sustainability regulations, or FFP as they used to be called. So let's start being smart with business and these transfer dealings. Now, I know that Shaw.
Did you hear that?
Like Shaw,
did you hear that for sensible bloody football analysis, dear? That what I can't. People aren't listening to this show, John, for sensible shit here. What? Yeah. Now I know you mentioned Brentford there, but I believe it got brought up in one of Chan series. His meandering meetings that he'd have for like 4 hours on a Tuesday night that everybody turned up to have a pop at. They've gone missing, haven't they? Him sat there going, right, I'll tell you this, and this is what's happening. And there weren't one question.
I've missed that.
We haven't had the Chad Series impression in a while, have we? And I remember Brentford got brought up, sort of saying like, why don't we do football like them? And that might be what they do, John. Yeah,
I think you've got to in League One, restricted by income and restricted by regulations still. While ever they're around, you're always going to be swimming against the tide, because, we don't always pull off the smartest deals. And, even look at when we went on a spending spree when he came in, we brought in, and we all, a lot of us clamoured for Jordan Rhodes. That went sour. Then we brought bloody Abdi in, didn't we, at 4 million? That were tough.
4 million quid. That just makes me bloody sick. I think you've frozen there, John. So I don't know what's happening.
I hope this is on YouTube.
Look at a different model here. We know the Brentford one has worked superbly.
Absolutely.
Has he gone frozen again?
It froze, yeah, and it looked like
mid flow.
If I had access to drawing a big cock and bollocks, it's going to go in your mouth, I'm afraid. So
yeah, basically just reinforcing what I was saying about going using a different business model and looking at signing young players with resale value.
Yeah,
pretty much doing the Brentford model. Been banging a drum about that for years, but we still don't currently do that. And I think the opportunity to start doing things like that could be with Dele Bashiru.
Now, Stevie, let me give you some subsequent information before I come to you on this here, right? So you've got Dele Bashiru plays in centre mid. In that role currently at the club, we've got Barry Bannon, Volks, FDB, Dennis Adeniran, we've got George Byers, and we've got Backinson as well. Now, have I missed anybody? Alex not in with us anymore, is he? Or is he out on loan still? I think he's gone there full time, hasn't he? Now, that is 6 centre midfielders. Where does FDB actually sit in that line? And why would we break the bank to keep a player that may or may not could, but third Sunday after Pentecost turn out to be a good player when we've got these decent centre mids at the club?
Right. I'm not one to say I told you so, but everything that we've talked about tonight, I said at the start of the season in terms of the importance of FDB. Take his performances out of it from a business point of view. It's about him being in the last sort of the last throw-ins of his contract. We needed to try and secure him as soon as possible. Just want to preface what I say with that.
But I'd say on the back of that though, Stevie, that if I was FDB, I would make sure I run my blood to water to justify a bloody contract. I'd make that shirt my own.
I totally agree with you. He needs to be going out there and putting in performances. I think you've got to temper it a little bit. I'd take out Bannon and Volks to an extent because of the age. I think, and you're looking at 2 players there that are very, very different, much more experienced, have played on an international level. They offer what FDB does, they can't do. I think Byers falls in the middle of it somewhere where he is still young enough. He's probably, for me, he's Barry Bannon. When Barry Bannon goes, he's going to be that figurehead. And we can talk about
Byers.
Yes, we can talk about how important Byers is to us now.
And I'm sure if we were to sit here now and have a debate with Simon would probably say probably rate Byers a little bit higher. I'm not putting words in his mouth. There are people out there that do think that, and fair play to him. I'm not, we're talking what we're talking there.
But you're thinking more long term, right?
I'm thinking from a long term perspective. If you look at his age, he's right up there, isn't he? I think there's only Adeniran that's a similar age. Backinson a year older.
Backinson played really well against Southampton, by the way.
I like Backinson.
He's got some at that kid.
I do like Backinson, but from my point of view, if you want to look at Delibashiru as a player with potential, with somebody who could develop and go further, he's got all the tools to go significantly further in the game than Backinson. And I say that with the greatest respect. I think Backinson's got a ceiling. I don't see Backinson playing Premiership football. And I mean that, as I said, with the greatest respect. I worry about Adeniran's injury record. For me, Delibashiru, when he's on it and he's at it, is an absolute beast. And I think if the right coach gets hold of him and the right team around him, I just think he's frightening. I think he's got frightening potential. I think he's got stuff that you can't coach. His size, his physicality, his physical attributes are ridiculous. And it's that sticks out for me. Simon talked a while ago about his ability to ping a ball or hit a ball towards a goal. He's got something that is ridiculous. When he lets fly and, he gets his shot up, it's absolutely unstoppable. And that is starting to be channeled and it's starting to develop a little bit. My worry is, in the grand scheme of things, is that it's gone on too long. As I said, we were talking about this in August, September time. It's now November. We're getting towards Christmas. There is some sort of hold up somewhere. And, we're probably right. It will be game time. And I would imagine that he's probably got somebody in his ear, or he's thinking about the fact that he wants to be playing regularly. We've got Bannon, who's going to play. Byers is going to play when he's fit and firing. Who's the third player that goes in there? Is it going to be Delibashiru? Is it going to be Backinson? I think for me, it's one of those two. I'm not sure that you can play Byers, Volks and Bannon all in the same team against the top end, because I think it lacks a bit of bite. But if you play against a team like Southampton, as we did last week, if you're playing against a Plymouth or a Portsmouth or an Ipswich, I think he offers us something that the other lads that we're talking about don't offer in terms of that physicality and those physical attributes. To the Brentford model, yeah, it'd be nice. And again, I said this at the start of the season. For me, if I'm Delibashiru, get me a contract, get me some incentives in there, promotion incentives if needs be. Don't break the bank, obviously, but anything that we can do to try and incentivize him to get us into the Championship and then get us into the top end of the Championship and use that as a shop window. If we've got a coach and a management team that are, managing the squad right and sort of selling the club as Darren Moore seems to be, that's what I'd be going with and saying, look, you've got this much time left. I'd also be quite, a little bit cheekily, I'd also be going back to Uragidi and Liam Shaw and saying, look, PSV are coming knocking. That's fine, but look what happened to them two sods.
Yeah.
A year, 18 months ago. The grass isn't always greener, and there's a development to be had with our players. For me, he's got the right manager who knows him. He's got a team around him. In the grand scheme of things, I think we're better off than a lot of people on social media think we are. Stick with us, and let's see if we can get us out of the league.
Do you think, Steve and the other guys, do you think there's a question mark here that we need to be asking about the commercial side of Sheffield Wednesday? Because we've been talking about this, like you say, since the start of the season. FDB was on our tip of our tongues at the start of the season, which was 3-4 months ago. If you actually look at whose contracts are up for renewal at the end of this season, there's a number of players who only signed, and I believe Byers is one of them. A number of players, I think Gregory might be one of them, who only signed 2-year deals. So I know we don't hear what's going on in the background, but we were discussing FDB in August. Why are we getting to December nearly and nothing's been sewn up? Sure enough, during the summer, they should have made a decision not to suddenly start talking about it now.
I think this is the problem that you've got, is that we're effectively, and I don't know if Ben was going to agree with this, sorry for jumping in, effectively, are we chucking all our eggs in one basket and saying, we're going to get this squad? We've retained Windass, we've retained Bannon, we've retained some bloody good players in League One, despite not going up this year, to say, right, we're going to build a squad. The contract lengths are going to be what they are. If we don't get out of the league this year, you watch, there'll be a flash sale. There'll be an absolute... I can't see. Bannon's a different one, isn't he? But I can't see Windass won't be with us next year in League One. I'd wonder whether Smith and Hickory will be. I don't.
But I think it works the other way as well, Stevie. I think if we go up, I think what we'll see is another, like Nottingham Forest, is to be another 20 players coming in and all that lot that have taken us up. You'll be all out the back door. And I agree with you. I think Bannon, Windass still be with us if we get promoted. There'll be people we retain. But do we have space if we get promoted for a bit part centre midfielder that is, one of the top 4 out of the 6 midfielders that we've got? I mean, surely it's got to be good for the club as well. Is there a point where they're sat waiting to see where we are in the league as well?
Yeah, 100%. I think when we've had a few beers and we've talked about it, you might sort of flippantly say, and I think I have on previous podcasts, that if we go up, we'll be all right in Championship and we'll be top end. And, you look at the Sunderlands, you look at Rotherham, you look at other teams that have gone up and the changes they've made, if they have. I know that Wigan have dropped away a little bit now, which is, one of them's always going to happen. But I think on par, if we continue the way that we're going, you look at the squad that we've got. I'm not sure whether I think the next challenge will be, do we have that absolute Forest type approach to overhauling everything, or do we just say, let's be sensible? Have we learned from spunking loads of money on loads of players? What do we actually need?
Listen, I think that the only thing that actually Sheffield Wednesday fans agree on is that Darren Moore knows how to recruit players. I don't think that's ever been up for discussion.
And I think the way the club seems to be run now is
we're a lot more sensible with it.
I think if we do go up, I agree with Steve. We've got the basis. We've got a good basis of a mid-table Championship side.
Mm-hmm.
I would question whether or not our strike force is up for get us to the top half of the Championship. So I think there's some amount of investment there and some amount of investment at the back. But fundamentally, you've got a core there, and I include Fizz in that, of a good Championship squad. He can't go down the route of just spaffing loads of money like we tried to do last time. I think we've got to build a squad to get us up. With youth and experienced players.
Mm-hmm. Go on, Ben.
I think we'll be somewhere in between what we've said about a Forest model, or try to use what we've got. I think it'd have to be something in between. We'd be looking at a first choice goalkeeper that just comes in and says, "This is mine for the Championship." Because Stockdale isn't that for the Championship. It's all very well and good in League One, but that needs sorting. As Simon says, attacking wise, Gregory and Smith, brilliant at League One level. The lower mid-table for me of the Championship at best. I don't think we should kid ourselves on as to how well this side had played.
Surprisingly honest, that, Ben, because I think a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans are quite sentimental. They'll be like, no, I reckon Smith and Gregor, he loves club, doesn't he? I reckon they could do right well in the Championship. They can't. They are. They're bottom half league Championship, top end League One strikers. That's what they are.
Midfield wise, I think we're laughing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
even at the back, I think we're in a good position. I think James, Marvin, when he's singing, Iorfa seems to be getting his shit together when he finally clicks. I think we've got a good basis there, but I think we are a Ben Hennigan 2.0 to make us absolutely Championship quality. But listen, I'm worried about time. I'm worried about time here. So as daft as it sounds, yes, we'd sign Fizeo Delabashiru, but the deal's got to be right for both parties. Now, bear in mind, when we get to January and halfway through the World Cup, the end of this contract is still 6 months away. I don't know why all of a sudden everybody's talking about it in October. That's their knitting, not ours. We're not in charge of it. Now, John, it's quiz time.
It is, yeah. So I thought the theme for this one would be, so it's going to be, I'm going to test your knowledge, test your memory, and it's classic Wednesday matches, and so they'll be quite memorable matches, and I want to see if you can remember our goal scorers in those matches.
Oh,
Jesus. God. Right, go on.
Right. I've tried to gear it to different members of the panel because of different eras, like Ben being younger than us.
If you come out with anything pre-80s, I'm stuffed, mate, just because I'm in my 50s.
No, I think
I couldn't remember that Windass had scored against Morecambe.
Yeah,
Really?
this is
No,
going
I couldn't remember Morecambe game. I couldn't remember any
Oh.
games that we talked about.
This will be shortest quiz in.
They've
It
got to
will.
be some
Well-
high-profile games. These ones, John. Bloody hell,
These
fire.
are more memorable, much more memorable. So
Go on, then.
I'm fairly sure you'll have a good idea. So on my screen, clockwise, it'll be going Dan. Then I'll be going Simon, Stevie, and then finishing with Ben. So Dan, you're up first then. So this is going to be FA Cup away, Derby County, 1993. 3-3 draw to take them back to Hillsborough. And you must remember any goal scorers
Any goal scorers that day?
for
93.
Wednesday.
Let's go back to the debate, the Danny Bashiro debate.
But
Listen, I'd sign him, but right, hang on, 93. So we're talking in
The year we
that
got to the
squad,
final, isn't it?
and wearing
Quarter-final.
we're wearing the kit with the pinstripes on the sleeves. So we're talking Chris Bart Williams. He was there. So obviously the easy one would be to go David Hurst. Did he score that day? John Harkes.
Right, okay. It was actually a brace from Warhurst and John Sheridan.
Who was the other one?
John Sheridan. And a
Do you know, I
brace
nearly
from
fucking said Sheridan and all. That's right, annoyed me. Bollocks.
Warhurst.
All right, go on.
All right, Simon.
oh,
Right, we're
no,
Simon.
excuse my French.
I couldn't even tell you the bloody game.
If you come out
It
with
was
anything below,
Warhurst had broke his wrist at the point, and he scored 2
Yeah.
goals. I remember it now.
Warhurst had to score to get the equaliser in it to bring them back to Hillsborough.
Yeah.
Simon, League One versus Huddersfield, the 4-4. Can you remember any Wednesday goal scorers?
Wednesday goal scorers. I can tell you who scored for Huddersfield.
I know who scored the Huddersfield goals.
Yeah, that'd have been easy.
Fucking hell.
I've got them, I think.
You reckon, Ben?
Oh, God, I
Yeah.
was there. I remember
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, got them.
I was sat in the South Stand grandstand.
I've got 3 for
But
sure.
Oh, God. What year was it, John?
2012.
2011. It was
11.
promotion season.
Well, I have no idea. Semedo.
Shall I go before you?
Go on then,
Go
Ben.
on. Go on, Ben.
You got a chance to steal, Ben.
Rob Jones,
Yeah,
Ben Marshall, Chris O'Grady.
Yeah.
And then it's the other one. It went. I don't think Rob Jones scored the first one. I don't know who scored. I'm trying to remember who scored the second. I know that Marshall scored the third. O'Grady scored the fourth.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I can remember them 3 goals.
It
vividly.
was follow the reader, follow the
Reader
reader.
Johnson. Yeah,
Yeah.
Reader Johnson. Yeah, he's a
I wouldn't have got
good.
any
Well done,
feeling.
though, Ben. Getting 3 out of 4.
That's
good.
impressive, that, Ben. Fair play. I think we
Yeah.
know who's going to win this one. John,
Yeah.
right. Is it yours, Steve?
Stevie. League Cup away, Blackburn Rovers, 1993 season.
Oh, I
Wednesday
know.
won 4-2 in one of the classic games ever shown on TV for Sheffield Wednesday.
Again, I was
Can you
there.
remember any goal scorers?
Ambit game.
There was no roof on the way end. Is that the one with the crutches?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm literally.
Fucking hell, Si. I know you can remember all the periphery. What
I know
kit we had on.
No, definitely one of the scorers in that game. Definitely one of them.
What was it, 1993?
93.
1993.
I went to it. It were bloody freezing. And I remember bloke at front with crutches when we scored.
We went 1-0 down. Roy Wegley
did.
scored, and then we turned it on. Didn't we?
Oh, a great game.
I'm guessing who played for us in 1993. I'm just picking a name.
That's
out.
all I did.
That's
It didn't land.
literally all I've got, and I'm going for. Mark Bright.
No, not Mark Bright didn't get any
Did
goals.
somebody
No.
get a hat trick?
No, somebody got 2.
That
Was
was
it Paul
Warhurst,
Warhurst
wasn't it?
again?
Paul
Warhurst.
Warhurst.
Warhurst got
Warhurst, I tossed a coin between them two.
Did
Warhurst.
Hursty score?
No Hurst. It was Warhurst 2, John Sheridan, and Harks. Harks got
Harks.
the.
All
got
the
the
people I
win
said
as
for my game. So that's nice. Right,
So
Ben, this is
Fudge,
where
back-
you sweep up, mate. Surely.
It's Ben, sorry, isn't it? Sorry,
Yeah,
Ben
yeah.
had a guess. It's Ben's.
So this was last week's game, since it's from his era.
Yeah.
Ben, away
We've
at
done,
Sheffield
we've done.
United, 2011, 2-2. We've got the Ramsey goals.
Oh,
Are you joking?
joking!
Chris O'Grady,
Fuck.
Yeah,
and I'm.
You don't get this one. You know,
But I don't know who got last touch. It's Reader, isn't it? Or is it Medine? I can't remember who got last touch.
Medine.
It was
Medine.
Grady
the
and
goal
Medine.
machine.
Oh
they,
my
they,
God.
hated, they hated him and then they
Both
signed
were
him.
up there. They're both
2-0
up there.
down.
I couldn't
To
remember
78
who.
minutes, and then we pulled it back, didn't we?
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah, it's
Jesus.
back to Dan.
Oh,
I
God,
could
there's some
tell
more.
who scored for United
Yeah.
as well.
I thought we were out if we'd lost.
I thought we were out. I thought we were still in.
just
That's why I'm laughing.
trivia,
I'm thinking
just trivia.
shortest quiz ever.
Fucking
no
hell.
point scoring. No point scoring. Just trivia. Dan,
Go on.
home, Leeds United, 1995. Sheffield Wednesday 6, Leeds 2,
Oh, God, I remember that one
95?
as well.
and it was the Ajax rip-off kit that we wore.
Right, 95. In that kit, Petrescu didn't wear it for long, so it's not him. It's before Carboni and Di Canio, so Reggie Blinker would have been there. John Sheridan was on his way out. Graham Hyde,
No, he wasn't on the score sheet.
was he on the pitch at
Two
least?
players got 2 goals, which will give you a clue.
Fucking
maybe.
hell. Hang on. Mark
One only
Bright,
played 1 season for us, and then he left.
Darko Kovacevic.
No,
Was he Belgium? Was he a
Chrissy
Belgian
Waddle.
player?
one player you've had on your
Mark de
podcast.
Greiser. Have we?
Mark de Greiser got a brace. Yeah, so that's 2.
Right. We've had on the podcast from 1990. Was it Nick? It went Nicholas Alexanderson. It was too soon for him. John
Guy
Newsom.
No,
Guy Whittingham.
Guy Whittingham. He got a goal. Yeah, de
It was
Greiser
Guy
got 2.
Whittingham.
Whittingham got 1.
5 years before I was born.
Christ,
Well, you
get
still
him
remember
in.
stuff.
This is why it's Fudge's question, Ben.
Yeah, God Almighty, that was right in my season ticket years and all that. That was right in the middle of it. When I heard Leeds United 6, I was like, yes, here we go.
Was Andy Booth playing for us? Did Andy Booth score against him?
No,
God,
No.
the other 2 were Mark Bright got
That
a
was
goal and
2-0.
David Hurst got a brace as well.
Right.
Oh, bloody hell.
So
I was
Simon,
at that game. I was at that game too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you were at that game.
I was at that game. Yeah.
God, we've drank
Simon,
some
this
beer,
one will
haven't we?
test you.
There's people going absolutely mental listening
Yes.
to this, aren't there?
Yes. Yeah.
With, you
Simon.
silly old bastard, yeah.
Come
You
on.
know, notes.
Come on.
Sheffield United away, 2008. Sheffield United 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. They had a late goal to stop us doing the double for the first time in 90 odd years.
I know this one.
2008.
2008.
I could probably I could tell you
Marcus
Sophie.
Tudgay?
Okay, got to be.
No, that was the other famous one. I think that was later, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, because
I
there was
don't think
there was
I don't
there was
think
the
we'll get
Tommy Spur Marcus Tudgay game, weren't there? So it's
Was
not
he-
that one.
That was later, yeah.
Was it an ex-Geordie defender, an ex-Newcastle defender?
Ah.
scored that? Was that not the
You were
one?
a defender.
Watson. Steve
No.
Was
Watson.
that, is it not
no,
that game?
No,
No.
Fucking hell.
no. This guy, I don't remember
Oh,
him apart from these goals.
We're saying home and away here. Home and away.
It was away. It was at Bramall.
Away. Oh shit! So it's not the Lloyd Owusu one.
Yep, Ben is losing his mind. Steve's gone to sleep.
Can I phone a friend? Ben, hello.
Go on,
Yeah.
Ben,
Go on, Ben.
what's your shout?
Adam Boulder.
Adam Bowler. Top memory,
Oh.
yeah.
Who
Adam
the
Bowler got a brace.
fucking hell?
And who was it who scored to
Classic.
deny us the win?
James Beattie scored free kick.
James Beattie, twat in the last minute, yeah.
Twat.
Got a free kick.
Fucking hell.
I
Right,
would've got that.
Steve,
last two
Steve,
before we send everybody to sleep. Go on. Last one.
yeah. Last two, Stevie. He'll get this one. League Cup versus Arsenal at Hillsborough, 2015, Wednesday 3, Arsenal 0.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh, he's got a good one there.
Lucas Jow.
Yeah,
Sam Hutchinson, did he score
Yeah.
or was it an own goal? And oh, bloody hell.
You can tell you've not drank a lot since you've had kids born around that type of era there, Stevie. You know.
Drunk more.
Well, yeah, he's probably
know
drank
scored that
more,
one.
more football. Yeah, Hutchinson, Zhao. Who got the last one? The other one?
The first goal was Ross Wallace.
Ross Wallace.
Wallace.
Yeah, because when he went like that across
That's
the
right.
front way.
That's right. I remember
Was it that one too?
Yeah. Well, I had to go to emergency dentist day after that. Got an infection and drinking too much dark fruits. Anyway, John, that was fun. That my apologies to the people listening at home. That was the most frustrating piece of radio you've ever listened to in the last 10, 15 minutes.
And how rubbish away.
Now, before we go, very quickly, and I want to say quickly, let's have some predictions against Shrewsbury. Simon.
2-0 Wednesday.
2-0 Wendy. Ben.
4-0.
4-0 Wendy. John.
3-0 Wednesday.
3-0. Steve.
1-0.
I'm going to go 1-0 Wendy. So, if they beat us, none of us are right.
Dunkley's scoring.
Yeah, it's it used to be known as the Nigel Jemson derby. Now I think it's going to get called the Che Dunkley derby. I think it's just going to be one of them games where we need to win in order to make sure we keep our pressure on the top. Because for the first time in a long time, I can remember that actually some scores went our way over the weekend, and that never happens. So that's actually nice to talk about next week. So thanks a lot for joining us from Simon, John, Ben, and Stevie. See you later.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.